Hi everyone, this is your happiness coach and psychologist Sakshi Mandhyan, and I'm here with my father, Mr. Singh. We are back with the series on the lessons from Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, and today we'll be talking about a very interesting topic which is called Don't Worry, Be Happy. And as you know that worrying is a common day-to-day activity that we all do, and worrying is not something which is really healthy. It leads to overthinking, and the overthinking leads to clouds in our judgment, thereby leading to poor decision making, and the actions get hampered. So let's see what Srimad Bhagavad Gita has in store for us to get more information about how to worry less and be more happy. So, Papa, what does Srimad Bhagavad Gita has to say about worrying and how to overcome it, how to deal with the various worrying symptoms
Okay.
and be happy?
Worrying, as you rightly mentioned, Sakshi, worrying is a very common phenomenon, and each one of us uh, has had bouts of worrying. A few people get into the habit of worrying. A few people get, worried on and off. But yes, it is something which is very common, and oftentimes, and if I could say almost every time, the thing that we are worried about is something which is not worthy of worrying at all, and it is in fact an aberration in our everyday life that we think about things which actually we have no direct connection with in terms of controlling them, and still we waste time on them, and at a very big cost. Now, when it comes to Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, yes, Shrimad Bhagavad Gita has very emphatically mentioned worrying as a characteristic, which is a big, a big factor why people can't take balanced decisions, and why oftentimes, they behave in a very, uh, you know, uh, inappropriate way. If you look at chapter 2, and uh, when I say chapter 2, you can also go to chapter 16, and you can also go to chapter 18. Although the verse 66 of chapter 18 is the culmination of what Lord Krishna told Arjuna about why he should not be worrying about things which one are not worth worrying, secondly not beyond his control, and thirdly because if he keeps worrying on them, he is actually missing out on focusing on more important issues, and thereby he is losing control over things that he should ideally have. Now, this is how the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita, through these interventions, keeps reminding. In fact, Lord Krishna keeps reminding Arjuna that the moment you start worrying about things, you are actually moving away from a focused approach in terms of how you should be dealing with your day-to-day responsibilities. So this is how it has been covered there.
Beautiful. So we shouldn't worry about things which are not under our control.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Papa, how in our everyday life worrying powers us, and what do we do about it?
In fact, Sakshi, we all have, and it's very special about the humanity that all of us, we have unique attributes, unique strengths, you see, and despite this, all of us, we pass through various trials and tribulations. Now, while we are actually passing through these tough times, uh, if you visualize, there could be three ways to respond. The first way is we become very happy when there are ups in our life. We become devastated when we have downs in our life. And this is an average person's response. The other way we could respond is that whenever there is something good happening, we should be grateful. And whenever we have occasions of downs, we should be prepared, patient, and graceful, which is negotiating downs gracefully. Okay. Now this is a much better response than the first one. But the last, and which is the probably the ultimate way of responding to such situations, is to actually get driven by your internal, you see, righteousness, or the sense of or purpose of duty that you have, which would keep you equipoised amidst, ups and downs, and you would always remain, so to say, nonchalant or say stoic. So this is like somebody being sthit pragya, which Lord Krishna very clearly mentions to Arjuna. Now when I mention these three stages, you can very well imagine that this is how you can't straight away jump to a sthit pragya, situation. It requires a lot of training. It requires a lot of, practice. And the most distinguishing feature here is that all your decision making should be driven by very, very carefully chosen values, and not driven by your hankering for, say, some material, things or possessions. Easier said than done, but comes with practice, and this is the way it is generally achieved. Now, when I move forward, I would like to actually share two very small stories with you. The first story is about, worrying means, taking on your shoulders some burden which is not worth, carrying at all. In the Zen philosophy, there is a very small story about two monks. One evening, they have come after paying their, completing their prayers, etc. So these two monks are coming, and it has rained heavily. And what they find is that on the way there is a nalla, which is because of the rains, it is overflowing. There is a young girl who wants to cross that nalla, but being small or frightened, she is not, courageous enough to do it, and she is crying for help. So one of the monks goes, lifts that girl, and helps her cross the nalla, and the other one also follows him, the other monk. When they reach their destination, the other monk says, you probably have committed a sin, because we monks are not supposed to be touching a female. So the other monk says, I dropped that girl after we crossed the nalla. Probably you are still carrying her. So this is how we carry worry. It is something which is not worth carrying at all. So this is about, this story. Now similarly, and as very clearly Lord Krishna also tells Arjuna, that it is the loss of faith, or say loss of surrender into the Almighty, that often, distracts us, and we actually are unnecessarily overpowered by some feelings which would take us away from our, ideal way of dealing with things. A very small story again. A young sailor got married to a beautiful girl, and he took her out on the first sail possible. And while they are in the high sea, suddenly there is a storm, and you see the ship is now, going, and the whole staff is running around, going helter skelter and trying to steady the ship. And the lady, the young bride of this sailor, is quite worried, and he finds her husband is pretty calm and balanced. So she says, are you not worried? The ship is in trouble and all that. So the husband goes and takes out a sword out of the sheath. The sword was lying there, and puts that sword on the forehead of his bride, and he says, are you not worried? So she says, why should I be worried? It is you who is holding the sword, so why should I be worried? I have full faith in you. So the sailor says, similarly we should have full faith in the Almighty. So why should we worry? We are doing our best, and whatever, do your best and leave the rest to the God. So this is how, the moment you lose faith, you find yourself, clouded by or overpowered by worry, and that distracts you for your normal functioning. So this is how it moves.
I really like the Zen story, how you carry the sins,
Yeah.
sins which is equal to
Yeah,
worrying,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
yes, while you were saying that, we all are inflicted with worry in our day-to-day life. So, how do we fight it and, emerge out of it?
Yes. So there is a there is no escape from worrying. This is what we have discussed till now. But yes, we have to get out of this phase, and we have to be successful. We can't get bogged down by the worries and all that. So I think there is a very simple way to overpower worries. The first is whatever work you are indulged in or you are engaged in, stop working on speculations or surmises about anything. Gather as much information and as many facts which relate to your work as possible. This will help you, make better decisions. This is one way of doing it. Ignorance is the biggest, reason for worries to take over, people and push them away from the desirable path. The second thing is you should always seek creative solutions. So if I am in the midst of some challenges or problems or situations, I should not just lose patience and become bewildered. Rather, I should think about creative solutions which would work. And if I fail in the first instance, try again, and then again. The third step is, if whenever you feel that you are being cornered by such situations and you are finding it difficult to move ahead, take advice of some specialist. And specialist could be anybody. It could be a qualified counselor, or it could be even your mother, father, best friend, colleague, peer, superior, your boss, anybody. Moving forward, it has to be very, very important that positive thinking has to be always there. While you are trying all these, steps to emerge out of a worrying state of mind, you should always be carrying a positive frame of mind, which well begun is half done. So well thought positively also works the same way. So if I am positive in my thinking, most of the things would turn out to be the way I desire them to be. And the last and the most important factor is always keep your plan B ready. So some of the times, or most of the times, if I could say so, we are so engrossed with the work in hand that we always take it for granted that things would move the way we desire them to, which is oftentimes not the case. So therefore, you should have a plan B also in place, so that if there are insurmountable problems, you can immediately shift to plan B and try to retrieve at least some of the situation. So this is how, and all these things, they would come with practice. Done once and then repeated and then done again in a different way, in a calibrated way, and would surely give you better results.
Very, very beautifully explained, Papa. And in fact, when you said that keep positivity, in your thoughts, keeping positivity plus preparing for plan B is quite realistic. So, being positive doesn't mean that you have to be unrealistic. You will still plan another, action for yourself, just in case when things don't go your way, you have another plan ready to take measures for yourself. Yeah, beautifully said, Papa. I think this is amazingly.
I would like to, Sakshi, at this juncture, our scriptures, they are full of, they are all manuals supporting us in such situations. And if I look at our own Guru Granth Sahib, which is a very sacred and revered scripture of us, people like us, in fact, in Guru Granth Sahib, in the Shlok Mahalla 9th, chapter 8th, our 9th Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, he says, चिंता ताकि कीजिए जो अनहोनी होए, ये I'm sorry, I'm missing the or if you could help me, I was discussing with you. चिंता ताकि कीजिए जो अनहोनी होए, ए मार्ग संसार के नानक थिर नहीं होए, थिर नहीं कोय. Now what he is trying to say is that we should worry about things which are unexpected. Unexpected means unhony. Now I'll quickly tell you what is the difference between hony and unhony, and we'll certainly find and surely find there is nothing called unhony. All that happens is very much on expected lines. I'll tell you, anybody is young is sure to get old. Anybody alive is sure to die someday. Anybody successful, success and failure, they are like pendulum. So anybody being successful is most likely to fail somewhere. These changes, when they happen, they can't be termed as unexpected or unhony. So something which is not unhony, something which is hony. Hony means something which is expected. So why worry about something which is going to happen on expected lines? So therefore, now these golden words and our scriptures are full of such motivating words. They only mean to say we should not unduly worry about things, one, which are willed by the supreme power, which we don't have any control over, and which when happens does two disastrous things. One, when we worry, what is happening is we are worrying at the cost of concentrating or focusing on the job at hand. So as wise people say, anything which is any good deed results into good results also, good consequences also. So if I am wasting time in worrying, it very clearly follows that I am not applying myself 100% into my job. So therefore, if I am making half-baked efforts, certainly the results are not going to be up to my expectation. Secondly, because I'm carrying this truckload of anxiety, there is a very high probability that if the results are not as per my expectations, it is going to be traumatic for me. Whereas if I had maintained, as we have discussed earlier, if I had been an equipoised individual, which is who is taking every situation as it comes and negotiates it or addresses it in the best possible fashion, then such situations would never emerge. And have you not heard, I think most of the people are aware that don't worry, be happy. Actually, in the 1980s and 90s, it was a very popular song by
Bob Marley. Bob Marley.
No, it was, I think, Bobby McFerrin.
Is it?
Yeah, it was Bobby McFerrin, who is the singer. And you leave aside the name, what is there in the name? Let's go to the content of the song. So the song says that all of us have trouble in our lives. Okay? And this is literally the lines of the song. All of us have troubles in the life. But if we worry, we double the troubles. And I think although the song became very popular for its the melodious way it was sung or all that, but I think the central essence remains the same, which was declared or which was shared or which was sung by Lord Krishna more than 5,000 years ago. So the crux of this whole video or this whole discussion is that whatever we are doing, remain steadfast. Don't worry about anything because there is nothing to be worried about. We have already discussed. Focus completely on your work. If you focus on work completely, you would give your best into that. Good deeds lead to good results. So why not your good deed? How can your good deeds be an exception? So I think if we carry on with this, we would be saving a lot of time. We, waste on worrying, and more than anything else, worrying also impacts our personality negatively. Somebody, that chintamani, that personality, people would often say somebody, you look like a chintamani. So and then people say chinta chita saman hai. So they say somebody who is into a worrying state of mind is like जैसे वो चिता पर लेटे हुए हैं. And I would rather go a step further, take it in a very light way, and I am saying that it is even worse than that, because the one lying on the chita, is dead, whereas one who is being troubled by this worry is very much alive, and it is going to be probably more traumatic.
Absolutely.
So the crux of the thing is, let's focus on our work, let's not worry, and be completely happy in whatever we do. We do with all sincerity, good results are bound to follow.
Definitely, Papa. I think that was a wonderful discussion. And in fact, for all you viewers, there's this very interesting quote by Steve Maraboli that says, happiness is not the absence of problems, but your ability to deal with them.
Yeah.
And that's what we were discussing till now, that there are various steps that you can follow for your well-being, so that you worry less and you focus more on your actions. When you work on your actions, the consequences are
Going to be positive.
in all probability be positive, and they will lead you to the journey of happiness. Right? So thank you.
It's been a wonderful discussion, Sakshi,
Absolutely.
and many more to follow.
Yes.
Please take care, and
Thank you.
please take care, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna.